Hello everyone, my name is Cash. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you all know that I will start this AZ-900 series, which is Azure Fundamentals. And in our last exercise, we deployed a Windows virtual machine and we learned how to connect it and install information server, Internet Information Services. So in this exercise, what we'll do, we will create a virtual machine, a Ubuntu virtual machine, which is a kind of Linux virtual machine. As you guys know, that Windows is a Microsoft and Linux is a command line open source um, virtual machine and normally used as a command line to access and deploy things like that. So what we'll do after creating this virtual machine, Ubuntu virtual. So Ubuntu is one of the flavor of Linux machine. There are different flavors like SUSE, Red Hat, Linux, CentOS, Ubuntu. So in our case, we will be using a Ubuntu. So I've created a Windows virtual machine just now. So what we'll do, we will use the same virtual network of this machine and for our Linux virtual machine. So if I go to resource, you can see this. I've created this virtual machine, which is standard B2S. This is IP address. This is our public IP address. This is our private IP address. Uh, Agent state is ready. This is my machine name, cache demo VM01. This is my demo RG resource group. These are all the buttons here. So what we do now, if I just duplicate this and we create a go to home, create resource, create virtual machine, and we'll choose the same resource group what we have used for creating our Windows machine, and we just call it say cache Linux. You can call it whatever you want. So we use the same. We do not want any redundancy, so no infrastructure redundancy required. It's already been selected, so this is Ubuntu, as you can see that. So this is the image template image we are using it. Yeah, and standard B2S is fine. Actually, we can use whatever you want. I'm using this one, but if you want to save more money, B1S, but it should work. Instead of SSH key, we will discuss this later. So we'll use password. So in password, just call it, say, Linux admin and password of your own choice, PASS. I'm not telling you. Okay, PASS. Oops. PASS. That looks fine. So if you remember, for our Windows machine, can somebody tell me what's the inbound port to access the machine? Hello? Please tell me something. Quickly, quickly, don't look. Of course, thank you very much. So for that one was 889, 3389. Yeah. For Linux machine, always SSH for secure shell and the port number is 22. I will ask this question. Disk, just leave as a standard if you want to. All rest is default networking. So you see, this is a network. If I go back to my so cache, the virtual network is cache demo VM01. Don't worry about too much. कोई फिक्र करने की जरूरत नहीं है. मैं आप लोगों को सबको समझाऊंगा. I will teach you guys what is virtual networks. So at this point, I'm just showing you that this is the virtual net is used by our Linux machine. If you see this cache demo VM01, and if I go to my virtual machine, so cache demo 01, so we are using the same virtual network. So this will give an subnet, a different subnet, and a different public IP address for this machine. I hope you understand what I'm saying. If any question, please ask me. Okay, just leave that all as default, not to worry about this at this stage. Next management, next monitoring. I don't want to do any diagnostic at this stage. Next advance and click tags. You can see that engineer is cache. If I can spell side cache, yeah. Next review, and if the running validation is passed. So let's create. So I will come back when this is created. It will show you. So it is in progress. Yeah. See you in a second. And now we have seen, like we can see that the resource has been created. So if we go to resource, and you can see that this is my Linux virtual machine name. It is in demo RG resource group. It is running. Location is UK South. This is my subscription. This is my subscription ID. This is my public IP address. This is my size, and this is the operating system. Don't worry about anything. We'll come back later. So this is the public IP address. Can somebody tell me, please, what is public IP address and why do you use? Thank you. I heard the question. I heard the answer now. So yeah, of course, we need public IP to access our virtual machine from externally when you are using internet. So this is your public IP, private IP address. Don't worry about just now. So we can see this, all the other buttons and things, activity log. Don't worry about it now for timing. So now we need to connect to this machine. So what I will do, so if you just make a note of that, so copy that, actually go to Linux machine. Before we do that, if I just go back to, if I go back and show you, click this button, all resources, and we can see that if we group by resource group, so this is our resource group, and all the resources are in there. And if we do by group by type, so that tell you these are all our disk. This belongs to demo RG. That's our network interface. One is for our virtual machine, Windows virtual machine, and this is our Linux virtual machine. This is a network security group for our Windows virtual machine. This is a network security for our Linux machine. Uh, Ahid, what is NSG? Can somebody tell me? Fausia, Sana, Haider, come on, talk to me, please. Sorry, I'm just joking. Obviously, you cannot talk to me. Network security means what you can filter coming inside and going outside of the virtual machine. Ignore this. So this is our public IP address. So these are our two virtual machines. And so now we have got public address for our Linux virtual machine. So if we click that, and if we just copy this, I've already logged on to my Windows virtual machine, as you can see that. So to connect it, what I'll do, I just click that and search for command prompt. Just right click and put on your pin to taskbar and just click this one. Before I do that, I was telling you guys, look, so port for Windows VM, everyone knows 3389 is called RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. Port for Linux VM is 22. So when you want to access Windows VM, we use port 3389. To access Linux machine, we use 22, which is secure shell SSH. So remember that for Linux SSH. So when somebody say, can you SSH into machine? That means you are accessing a Linux VM. So if somebody asks you RDP, that means a Windows machine. How to reset password. Say, for example, if you forget the password of this machine, so what you can do, go to your virtual machines, any machine, and go to your Linux virtual machine and just type reset, and you can see that, click this button and you can see this, your username is here, Linux. Yeah, and you can click this to reset your password. See, this is your password. I don't want to do this now because I remember password, so you can do this way. Plus, how do we gonna connect to this machine? So open a command prompt and then type ssh linux admin, the username of the machine you created and your Linux public IP address. So if I go back to my Windows machine and I launched command prompt, so this black window is called command prompt. Yeah, command prompt. You can see that command prompt. So we type here ssh linux admin at, and I copied that. So if we do, oops, not too many times. If we click enter, it's taking this time. What's going on? Let's see that I'm putting SSH Linux admin. So this is the password. That's the public IP address. Ah, oh, we did not. Can somebody tell me what I've done wrong? So I did not put 22. So we have to mention port 22. Hopefully this time works. SSH. Let's type again SSH 22. Give me 1 second. Come back. Okay, let's start again. So if I just launch my command prompt and type SSH, oops, SSH, and my username, which is Linux admin, and at, and copy my done like this. So it is 20. Yes, 20. Enter. Yeah, that's right. So I think we are making mistake over here. So click yes. Are you sure you want to connect? Yes. And the password we need to put in now. Hey, so you can see, so we have finally connected to our Linux virtual machine. So you can see that it's not a GUI. GUI is a graphical user interface. So we are connected using a command line, right? So what we'll do now, I will come back again and show you guys how you're gonna install um, a Linux web server on this machine. See you in a minute. Right, so we just came back again. In this one, I will show you how to install a Linux web server. If you remember, guys, sorry, in our last class, you know that for Windows we install a web server which is called IIS. Anybody tell me what IIS stands for? Yes, of course, Internet Information Service. For Linux, we will use a software called nginx. Yeah. So these are the command we'll use. So we'll go to our command prompt. Command prompt, the one I just told you, the black screen. We type sudo apt space update, and then when it is done, so basically it will update all the existing software on the Linux machine and get it ready. and sudo is like a command name, or you can say like you give you permissions to do that, like a root permissions. Sudo, then we'll type sudo apt install nginx. Uh, I think I put a wrong spelling. Here's ANGINX, and then we click yes. And there's another tool. Say, for example, if you are unable to access your Linux machine via Windows machine, you can use another tool that's called Putty, and I will show you how to install that. And you can, most of the companies, it's a very nice tool and it's lots of feature comparing to our command prompts. I will show you guys very soon. Right, so now we have to install Linux web server, and I explained before in my previous scheme that it is called nginx. If I go back again, I will show it. So for Linux, we use nginx, and as you know, for Windows, we have used IIS server, which is Internet Information Services. So what we'll do, we will log on to this Linux machine via command prompt, and we'll type these commands: sudo apt update, sudo apt install nginx, y for yes. There's another tool I'll show you. Instead of, if you don't you want to use command prompt, uh, it's called Putty, Putty. That quite common in IT industry, and most of people use Putty. So I'll show you both how to use that to access or connect to virtual machine. So we should be able to reach. You can use both command prompt or Putty. But after we install this Nginx, which is like a web server, if you remember in our Windows machine, we were showing this is cache IIS server. So same thing for Linux, we can install this web server, and in our case, we're installing Nginx. So, but obviously there's a security issue. We will not be able to access from outside into this machine like we had issue with our Windows machine, remember? So we had to create an inbound rule. So important note that so we can have one only NSG attached to both VMs like Windows machine and Linux machine NIC. Can anybody tell me what is NIC? पता है NIC क्या है? NIC means network interface card, which is a network card of your machine, or we can attach this NSG to the whole subnet. Don't worry about it at this moment. I'm just giving information, not to worry about it. And right, let's do that. So let me go to my remote machine, which is my Windows machine. So what I did, I logged on to this machine, as I've shown you guys. Linux SSH Linux admin at the IP address and the password. So the first command is we need to do, just close that, is sudo apt update. So if we type sudo apt update, yeah, so basically it is updating all the packages on this machine. By the way, I have mentioned all this in my documentation here. If you can go to exam topics and creating, if we go to connecting to where is it? Virtual machine, Linux machine, Linux machine, Linux machine. Yes, web server. So if you go there, so you can see that all my commands are there, sudo update and all that. And when we connect to the, when we log on to the browser, typing the IP address, we should be seeing this kind of page. And let's go back. What happened? So this is done. So what's the next command? So the next command is sudo apt. So we need to install this nginx. Sudo apt install nginx. So we do this sudo apt install nginx. Okay, click yes. So that's done, all is done. So now, as I said before, we can connect via the command prompt. Also, there is another tool which is called a Putty. Remember I showed you? So just if you just go to our Microsoft Edge and download this tool onto this machine, and then I'll show you how to connect to that. So start with our data, confirm and continue, accept all, continue without this data, confirm and start browsing. Yeah, so we can see this. So if I quickly go to my link, and if you go to our exam topics, and if you look for Putty link, virtual machine sizes, and connecting to, if you open that, no, not this one, virtual Linux machine, creating, so this one here, yeah, this one. So if I click this and copy, that is putty.org, copy, copy, and we go to new tab. This is our machine where we are. This is also Windows machine. Remember, we enter and we download Putty, and this is a 64-bit. We choose this one, and this is installing now. Open file, next, next. And we can put a shortcut if you want. On local hard drive, so on local hard drive. Yeah, install, finish. Don't worry about readme file, I'm not interested. So if we search again and type Putty, so just put in your taskbar if you want to use it again and again. So click that, and this is where you have to put the public IP address of your virtual machine. So if you go to our Linux machine, go to your Azure portal, copy that, go to your machine, type this, right click, paste, port number 22, make sure you open, accept, login. So you need to put only your username, if you remember, Linux admin, and password. Yeah, so you see you can access via using a Putty or a command prompt, both. You can see that. See, this is your command prompt and this is your Putty. I hope you understand both. So I've shown you exactly what to do. Now we need to check this is going to work or not. So if you go to copy this address again, and if you go to our browser, and if you just type in here, copy paste, accept all that, and enter. Any idea will it work or not? Obviously it will not work because we do not have an inbound rule. Taking its time. So I knew that's not going to work anymore. So anyway, we go back to our Linux machine, go to networking, network settings, create an inbound rule, and any leave all that, custom HTTP 80, and we can say this is for this is an inbound rule for our Linux web server. Yeah, click add, creating a security rule created, takes maybe 2 seconds. So you see it doesn't work. So let's open up. You see, we as soon as refresh, and it is working fine. So our nginx is working fine. Sorry, and the web server which is called nginx. I hope this video is informative to you guys. And if there's any question, please come back to me, ask me the question. Please, please, please watch the video, comment it, like it. So this will motivate me to create more. If you do not bother, then I will do the same thing. So please admire. I'm spending a lot of time doing this for you guys. So please appreciate that and make some comments, like it or something, so that would then make me more motivated to create more. Thank you very much. I'll see you again. Bye bye.